Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the official video webcast of GeekRest.com. The 7th day, as it's commonly known to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's GeekRest and 7-day rested. I mean, I'm sure you guys get that. You don't need to be spoon-fed.
No, not every week.
I'm Aaron from Comic Show, and we're in a comic shop.
Yeah.
In case you can't notice, we didn't just build a fake set of comic books.
No, not yet. That's coming.
All right.
This is a weekly video recapping all the comic book news and so forth, and stuff. And you know what the drill is. It was kind of a light week as far as news goes, but there's a lot of stuff coming out, so a lot of people are talking about everything.
There's some news, but New York Comic Con's right around the corner, which we will be at.
Yes.
And that I'm sure they're saving some stuff. At least DC.
I'm expecting
they're not going to announce their fourth wave until New York Comic Con.
Right,
I can
but
guarantee that.
I believe there are some good announcements coming. One of them being whatever the hell Jim Lee is working on next, because he is out of Justice League.
Right. Smart money's on Man of Steel. Scott Snyder has delivered for them, and Man of Steel. You know, I mean, he's the man of tomorrow. Why get the men of yesterday to write and draw your book? You know what I'm saying? I mean, the relaunch Superman. I mean, no offense to those guys in their career, but if you're going to do a fresh, new take on Superman, get someone that's doing that stuff.
No, Superman needs to be saved.
And besides, Jim Lee designed that costume, and when Jim Lee draws it, it's not spandex, but it doesn't really look like armor per se. It just looks like this kind of Kryptonian uniform. Yeah. But when some other artists draw it, it kind of looks like his old Kryptonian battle suit, his Kryptonite battle suit, where it's like to shield him from Kryptonite.
No.
It just kind of looks clunky.
Didn't he have like a helmet or something?
Yes.
Like that back?
It looks clunky and not sleek. So Jim Lee, Man of Steel, that's where the smart money's on. Yeah. And Ivan Reis on Justice League.
Ivan Reis and Joe Prado, they're moving over there.
He can do that. It's
cool.
Basically for him just like drawing Blackest Night with no Black Lanterns, because he's already drawn all these characters before. Right. He can handle juggling a huge.
Yeah, and both of these guys have worked with Jeff Johns between Green Lantern and Aquaman, so they got a rapport.
And I like the cover where Aquaman's front and center, like
right. Aquaman's taking the lead, I guess.
And Shazam, we've already seen him in there.
They got to roll him out already, because he's exciting me, all those teasers.
Why don't we roll right into zero issues out of this DC stuff then? Because this week is the Justice League zero issue, which is Shazam. He takes over the whole issue. So let's see it, I'm ready. I'm ready for... I don't know if he's got... Does he say Shazam to turn into Shazam? Because then if he says it again, he's like, what's your name? Shazam. Oh, Shazam.
Oh snap.
No. So, these are pressing questions.
Yeah.
But
no, DC zero issues, they continue to roll out, the second week of them. No one has there's no real big gripes with them, other than the fact that some people are a little dismayed that they weren't, some questions weren't answered in regards to the logistics of Batman's timeline, Batgirl in the chair.
Yeah, Batgirl, how she can walk, what happened in Africa, that was teased out with issue 1. Yeah. And they're going to have this zero thing, which might be mysteries revealed, and it wasn't revealed. It was just the origin.
It was still a good book.
It was a good book. Gail Simone does not write bad books, but it wasn't.
She's doing better and better with the whole New 52 Batgirl.
Well, she had her card stacked against her with that, because she did so well with Oracle. So many of her pre-existing fans loved Oracle. So it's hard. It's like when Jeff Johns got Barry, and so many of Jeff Johns' pre-existing fans loved Wally because he made them love Wally. So Gail Simone did have her work cut out for her. She's delivered. I just want to know. My speculation is DC editorial hasn't really decided what it was yet, so she couldn't write this story. But that's just my conspiracy theorem. Some of them, they're all selling really well. Yeah. All the reorder numbers are great. They're selling in my store great. And a lot of them are really big hits. I mean, some of them, obviously, Liefeld's books aren't going to sell. But
Obviously?
Well, after that big blow up.
Well, I know. I didn't buy them. I bought them.
Well, you know that he's being replaced on the books, and/or the books will be canceled to make way for the fourth wave. Why get excited about 20 pages of a zero issue of something? On the other hand, some of these books have really, really rocked and gotten a lot of fanfare, specifically Demon Knights. That was a solid 20 pages. It reimagined the whole, Bruce Banner, Hulk in medieval times dichotomy of it was really good. I liked it. And Lucifer was in it, and Merlin, and it was fun. So the zero issues, I think, are a big win for DC, even though some of them are bummers, and some of all the 52 is bummers. You can't have 52 books that are all great.
No. But Batman was a knockout.
And if you do have 52 books that are all great, they're not going to all be the same level of great. So some of them will, by essence, by the bell curve, which is racist, obviously, the bell curve.
It is a little bit.
Some will not be as good.
Yeah. But, like I said, the gripes, Batman and Damian, the whole timeline thing there. Small things, small issues. People just wanted the answers. They didn't get them.
I didn't necessarily want the answers to how Batman could have been Batman for 7 years, yet had impregnated Natalia 12 years ago, specifically with the numbers they gave me. And specifically said that he was in incubation for exactly 9 months, not accelerated growth.
Right.
And because they had to do that Nirvana cover.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I didn't really need to know, but once they threw those numbers, I'm like, oh god, I have numbers in my head. It's insidious. I want to know.
It'd be a good story too if they fleshed it out.
I'm happy with Damian. I like the issue. I'm dealing with it, but
I think Batman and Robin is one of the best Batman books out there right now.
Other than Scott Snyder's.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm looking forward to Nightwing this week.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman this week. I mean, it's good stuff.
Good stuff. And Marvel, Marvel now is, of course, their big push for later in the year. And we talked about some teasers they released last week. Those one-word, title card things.
Right.
They evoke emotional responses, I guess.
Or maybe give the central theme, but I don't see how Lightning's the central theme of. But
yeah, Lightning probably got the biggest reveal with the Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Team on the book. Okay,
General
that's cool.
Thunderbolt Ross. I mean, that's pretty badass. I mean, maybe it's facepalm worthy that Thunderbolt leading the Thunderbolts, but I think it's kind of clever.
I think it's cool. I like how Punisher's on the cover. I thought Punisher was going to be on a team.
Now, when this was announced, it was my birthday. Oh yeah, you called that one.
I like that.
I was severely drunk on some top shelf, whiskey. And I called Daniel Way as soon as I saw that. I was like, why the hell is Punisher on a team? Why do you got Kool-Aid Man here? What's going on? Did he spill his Kool-Aid on Punisher's shirt?
Yeah.
What's going on? And he said, he's like, it's not necessarily a traditional team dynamic. It's, cadre and maybe the barter system. Maybe Elektra might need some help with the hand. So if everyone puts in some time helping her with the hand, then she'll put in some time helping them with their things.
Right.
And, let's see how it goes. You know, and maybe Punisher doesn't stay for the long term. Maybe he's just there for a couple issues. Maybe he's just there to get some help on something he needs help with.
Right.
Who knows? But Daniel Way said the first issue is going to be front-loaded, just complete, utter action in traditional, X-Force style. Like, this is going to be the X-Force of the Avengers.
He said, Deadpool's on it. He says Deadpool's going to be killing a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's cool. And like you said, Punisher's always a gray area when it comes to, his goals, his end game. So there's a lot of dynamics.
His MO is he would never work with someone that used to be a villain.
Right.
Like, remember when Anti-Venom was like, it's okay, I've changed. And he's like, you're Eddie Brock? That's cool, you've changed. I haven't. Click. So, yeah. It's interesting. But, you can't really judge by the cover before reading with Daniel Way. I mean, I gave him some crap on the phone, and he had some great answers for me.
Drunken crap.
Yeah. And he's going to come sign at the store and all that stuff. So
Good guy. But, so that's cool. And, of course, there was the Survive teaser that was revealed to be Avengers Arena.
Which is probably the central theme, Survive.
Yeah, now it makes sense. It didn't make sense to me at the time. Now it makes sense. And this is going to... Well, the cover art they revealed is a direct homage to Battle Royale, which many people know now was, the source of inspiration for the Hunger Games. Survival. They're pitting. The premise of the book is they're taking 16 of the youngest superhero characters in the Marvel universe and putting them. Was it Arcade?
Yeah, Arcade.
Putting them in
Murder World. And that's cool. Murder World has always been kind of, a joke, kind of like never really successful, never really murdered anybody. Dazzler can put him away. I mean, she's one of my faves, but still.
Dazzler's awesome.
But it's, I like the idea of him getting at the heroes by going for the gut of like, we're going to kill your legacy, we're going to kill the offspring, we're going to get this. And I mean, of course it's a direct homage to Battle Royale. I mean, that's what they use for the cover. And I think
even the logo, everything's the same.
Maybe they'll do a direct homage cover for, Hunger Games with issue 2. Who knows? But I mean, to me, all that stuff is like Battle Royale. That's like what Lord of the Flies. I mean, everything, and there's stories in Greek mythology about getting a bunch of like teenagers together and seeing who wins to be the top god. I mean,
it's nothing new.
I do see, why do I want dark stuff with teenage heroes? I want something, I want the dark stuff to be their own high school drama and, fluffy stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe it'll be awesome. I hope they don't kill many of the Runaways, but
yeah, right.
You know,
it's interesting. I've voiced my concerns about it. I was like, this is the first Marvel Now title that I'm kind of like on the fence about, and then like I had a huge response from people writing back to me on Twitter being like, oh, this is the one title that I'm actually really into and looking forward to. So
the writer is up and coming, hopeless, and you know, let's see what he can do. And Marvel does a great job of getting these writers that, you know, have not done much of anything for the big two, and just giving them something where they can really sink their teeth into it and go crazy and do something crazy, and then they're the next Rick Remender.
Yeah.
Where DC's like, we're going to give you a 2-issue fill-in on Booster Gold, and then, you know, like, that's well, you know, DC did with Rick Remender, you know, we're going to give you some issues of Aquaman, but then we're going to, you know, but Marvel gives these writers a shot. So whether you think that this is a good idea or something that you like, at least they know how to cultivate a young writer.
Right.
Where DC has 52 books, and it's like the DeFalco Mackie Lobdell show, you know? So, anyway,
that's the old man thing.
I'm sorry.
I want to see Darkhawk again. I
don't know. The last time we saw
Darkhawk,
Darkhawk, he was like all powerful, you know? He was like this cosmic, you know, the cosmos most wanted dude. I mean, it was awesome.
I was obsessed with him in like the 90s, like 91, 92.
We knew that some of these,
I like him.
Right? I was too. I mean, I was you know, a kid when it came out, and he was a kid. I'm like, I also am your age. I also want to be a hero. And I was looking around for alien artifacts that would turn me into, you know, a superhero. Never found any. We knew some of these Marvel Now books weren't going to be the biggest characters and the biggest names, but at least they're good concepts. At least you know why they exist. You know there's a central theme, there's a purpose, and it's going to succeed or fail based on that. It's not just that, well, we're not doing anything with these characters, let's put them on this team. It's like, it's the Thunderbolts, this is what they're doing, kick some ass.
Yeah.
So, an X-23 on Avengers Arena, that's kind of
that's kind of cool. Yeah, we'll see. You know, between Marvel's cinematic universe and the movies and everything they're doing in the comic books, you know they're going to start using the same formulas. Give everything a chance. You know, cautiously optimistic, perhaps. But yeah. So, and also with a little bit of movie news, I was speaking about Marvel and films. There's so much stuff. I mean, it's not really news to talk about, but a lot of set photos are coming out.
Right.
Thor's filming.
Speculation,
Thor sequel.
Rumors.
Wolverine's filming in Japan right now. Iron Man 3, of course, is filming. The ball is rolling on all these things. And one announcement that got people talking was not Marvel, not DC. Well, DC kind of.
Warner Brothers.
But Why the Last Man? They came up again. I mean, they've been talking about adapting this crap for 10 years now.
At one point before the writer's strike, Shia LaBeouf was like actually attached. So.
And then no. Could you see that?
Yeah. You know, I like the guy. I mean, I didn't like the Transformers movies, but you know.
So New Line Cinema is saying that this is now like one of their top priorities, and you know they started working on a script earlier this year in March, and I guess they dig it. So now they're moving forward. They're scouting for directors and crew to put this together, and of course they're talking about making it more than one film. You have to.
That's my biggest thing with all of these like really great runs of independent comics, creator-owned comics. They're not independently published, but the Vertigo stuff, like Preacher, needs to be an HBO series, not a movie.
Yeah.
You know, like if you pull one card out, the whole house falls down because it's all, you know, that's Preacher. I mean, Sandman really should be more than just a movie, you know? And like, I mean, like with Hellblazer, John Constantine, you know, I didn't like, you know, that it wasn't in London, that it was Keanu or whatever. It didn't feel like Constantine to me. It didn't feel like my Constantine. But at least Constantine, you could just say, hey, this is a little story about this con artist magician. But with Y and with, you know, DMZ or Preacher or Sandman or any of these other 100 Bullets or whatnot. Can you imagine 100 Bullets? Like, yeah, we only got to 2 bullets. That was you know, but you really need, like, Watchmen, the biggest problem I had was how it was long, but felt like there was a lot of things taken out. You know? So,
But I mean, like with the success of shows like The Walking Dead on AMC, where they were actually given the liberties to show some pretty gritty stuff, and at the same time also take license to do their own thing. It makes you wonder, like, and everyone's been talking about this, it's nothing new, but Why the Last Man done as like an HBO miniseries, or like, you know, like I said, even AMC has the balls to do stuff like this now. Those seem like the proper venues for a title like Why the Last Man.
And you know, Robert Kirkman turned down movie offers for options for The Walking Dead because the whole thing was kind of a answer to the whole zombie movie. Is like, well, you got maybe 2 hours. Some people live, some people die, and the survivors, they might die during the credits for all you know, because the world is still crap. It's still post-apocalyptic crap. So the whole concept was continuing survival in a post-apocalyptic zombie world. So it needs a continuing series. So as much as I love movies and the big screen and the budgets and all that, why to me it has to at least be 3 movies.
You got to have at least 20 cliffhangers. You can't have that in one movie. But yeah, that's it. That's a little brief rundown of all the comic book news and stuff. We're basically just talking about, just
and we do this online too. If you go on like the GeekRest Facebook, it's always all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Comic Shop Facebook, all over the place.
Facebook and Twitter.
GeekRest.com. All day long I do this in the store, and I don't do any work.
Breathe it, drink it, and then call Daniel Way after drinking.
Daniel Way, man, like, why is Kool-Aid Man there, and why do you spill Kool-Aid on Punisher's shirt?
I know.
I mean,
and he's shooting with his eyes closed, too. I don't know if anyone noticed that. He's all,
Yeah, Daniel Way just, like, spit out his beer when he heard me say. So anyway.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have a lot more stuff, too, in the coming weeks for New York Comic Con and afterwards, especially. And
maybe even during New York Comic Con.
Oh, yeah, for sure, during.
We'll do some Adderall. We'll stay up all night.
All night.
Uploading stuff.
With Sparks.
FTPs.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.